Hey, what's up everyone? DJ Sterf here. Alright, I'm going to make a video on something I don't make a whole lot of public videos on, and that is joggling. And I made a joggling database for all the IJA records, or performances really. And I do have rank information and all that, medal counts, meet information, all that. So I'm just going to delete the database. Deleted! Oh man! Oh no, I deleted my database. Alright, so I'm going to open up all of my deployment scripts and I'm going to deploy it from scratch. So I have 10 scripts here. First one, I'm just going to create the database. This is all in SQL Server. Second, I've made a stats schema for a few of the tables. Here are the tables and some indexes to help out so they're not just heaps. Here are the stored procedures. Yes, those are the population procedures. I was okay. Yeah. Anyway, functions. I was trying to remember what I was doing with some of those procedures. I swapped over from just like hard code population and just threw them in procedures so I can repopulate very quickly if I need to without having the scripts handy. The functions, there are a lot of conversion in distance and time and rank calculation, so I use those a bunch. Here you have the views. Views are very helpful. I'll show you those. Populate. I ran the population there, and also here you have all the records. So 1980 through 2023 as of this very moment. That's a lot of data. Oh man. Yeah. F5. All deployed. Done. Transform and load, and we are done. So let's take a look. Refresh IJA Joggling. So you have a bunch of tables here, but a lot of them are going to just look, it's going to have a lot of numbers. So if you look at performance, you can look at this table right here, but I mean, it's just a lot of numbers and it indexes over to other tables with that information, so it ties in. So these aren't meant to be very user-facing by any means. It's just meant to be accurate. And now you have the views, though, that I set up, and you can look at the meet detail table. So I'll look at some of these views and show you those, and they're kind of cool. Yeah. First meet, the first IJA World Joggling Championships was held in 1980. And it was held at the North Dakota State University track. It was an indoor track, and we haven't had a whole lot of indoor tracks. I wish we had more. It was a synthetic surface, 274.32 meters of elevation above sea level. That's important because especially if you have high elevation, and some of the ones in Nevada and some of the ones in, there was one in Denver that was very high above sea level. You see here Denver, 1,641 meters above sea level. That's over a mile. It's the Mile High City. So yes, it does affect your times. The oxygen saturation is lower when it's higher up from sea level. So something really close to sea level would be a whole lot quicker. And you would have your breath a whole lot more readily here. Now you have the number of jogglers recorded and number of performances recorded. So you notice as well that there was a virtual World Joggling Championship starting in 2020. So I threw out the idea to the organizers to have a virtual joggling competition during the pandemic, so that if you could get out, then yeah, find a track and make sure you're not violating whatever, and that you get out and you get your times done, but you got to have like a GoPro or an Insta1, like I use an Insta1 360 camcorder, or not an action cam, yeah, camcorder, like full size, action cam, and I have it with, I have a head strap and a chest strap mount, and those ones, it depends on, if I'm juggling 3, I will use the head strap mount if I have short enough hair, but my hair got too long for a while, so it would always just like slowly like fall off of my head when I was running, so I had to use a chest mount for that, which yeah, it constricts your lungs. It makes it harder to breathe, and that's not that great. So my intercostals got really sore for a few days if I ran a lot with that chest mount, and I probably just had it too tight, but I didn't want it to move. Like I didn't want it to be, you know, crazy. It does have some image stabilization, so I guess it's less of a major concern there. But anyway, when I'm juggling really more than 4, I want to use a chest mount because it can get, like, I'm looking up too much, and so my chin and my beard will block it from looking down. But with the 360 camera, you have the dual lens, and you can move it in the editor. You can move the frame so that you can see up and see the juggling pattern, make sure it's good, and then you can look down and see the start and finish line. So it's really a neat thing for this. You could have a drone footage, which would be also really nice, but yeah, I don't want to spend that much necessarily. If someone else brings one, I think it'd be super cool. I've seen drone footage with running especially, so some channels on YouTube will have that. So I mean, look up Nick Simmons, his channel has a bunch of that, and it's really, really cool footage. But with joggling, that would be kind of cool, but you'd have to see the pattern, so you'd have to have it a little bit ahead of you just to be safe in terms of validating the joggling legitimacy and all that. But anyway, so we had virtual for a while, and then this last year, 2023, we were back to in-person, and we also had virtual. It adds to the global accessibility for entry. So, and people who don't necessarily have all that much money to spend on a trip to a place, as well as lodging, as well as for the festival, like, it's a lot of money when it comes down to it. So it's helpful to have. So we've kept it, and it's been kind of cool. Not a whole lot of entrants in virtual yet, but enough, you know, and it's been fun. And yeah, it dwindled a little bit last year because of the in-person, because people wanted to show up at the in-person meet. And yeah, this year it's in Green Bay. We do have a virtual meet. The deadline this year for virtual is June 15th. So that one, I still have to finish off some of my runs. I mean, I kept getting sick, so I lost like 6 weeks of training. So I'm not really optimistic about my times this year. I've done a few decent ones, but I don't feel like I'm in the right shape for where I need to be at this part of the season. But anyway, there was a road race in 2017. Basically, it was a 5K that was run. This was in Iowa. And then also you had, 2 years before that, the entire meet in Quebec was run outdoor on roads in Quebec City. So that's kind of interesting. So it qualifies as a road race. It was called the World Joggling Championships, but here you had a separation where you had a road race, you had a 5K, as well as a track meet form of this. So that's why these are split. Yeah, just looking at the elevation, that's crazy. The most populated year at IJA, we had 202 performances and 82 jogglers recorded at the 2011. That was in Rochester, Minnesota, and that was, I think, record heat for Rochester, Minnesota, and it was run outdoor, and people were sweating, but people had a good time. It was hot, like hot. Yeah, but I think Sparks, Nevada was even hotter. So some of the ones out there were crazy hot. There's one thing, we don't have any records from 2003. We don't have any records of the performances, I'm saying. So I've talked with just about everyone who would know. I want to talk with one more person who might know where the records could be, but I don't know if he would have those. But we basically have a year where we just don't have any records at all, and no one can find any records. So that one's kind of a bummer. But every other year, yeah, we're just motoring along, joggling. All right, so that's the meet information. That's kind of cool. If you go to event history detail, this will be neat because I can look through and see when the last time something was run officially. So let's say here you have a 5-ball mile. Ooh, that's not terrible, but that's 5-ball. I'm not great with 5, and most people aren't. But I mean, it is at IJA. Like, I mean, those are the best. Like, people either at IJA or EJC or some juggling convention that's always going to be your top talent. So 5-ball mile to some people will just be they'll smile and be like, oh, that sounds like fun. I'm thinking, boy, it is hard for me to even go 200 meters while juggling 5. I've gotten better. Like, I've gone from dumpster fire to like slow burn dumpster. I'm better, but I don't know. I've gotten a lot better, but I need to get good at it. So like, that's on me. but it is going to take a lot of dedicated practice to get there. So I guess the question of ROI for me comes into play, because I'm not a professional juggler, but you know, I do like joggling. But some of these, like, yeah, you could have another event, a 5-ball mile. It hasn't been run since 1999. And then this one right here, 5-ball 5K. Oh, ouch. Oh boy. Oh boy. And some of these have never been medaling divisions, like the 7-ball 200 meters, a 7-ball 200 meter. Oh man. What if I did a 7-ball mile? Dude, I would take like an hour. I would take like an hour. Like, that's not even an exaggeration. I might not even finish in an hour. I don't even think I'd finish in an hour. Oh, that'd be awful. I'd run out of camera battery before I'd finish. Oh boy. Anyway, so some of these events are pretty fun. I have a lot of fun with 4-ball, so I'll show you some of the 4-ball times and all that. But yeah, so I can look through and see the event history, when it was first run and the latest it was run and that type of thing. You might note here, 3-ball 100-yard dash. First one was in 1980, and then last it was run is 1982. It got replaced by the 100 meters basically, and I'm not surprised by that. But let's take a look at some of the other ones here. Performance detail. This is going to be your main table. This goes through every single performance. And yeah, so starting from 1980, there were only 2 events, and there were only 2 definite times recorded here. So there were more jogglers here, but we had a 13.6 second 100-yard dash by Brad Heffler. And then 5:44 is a pretty good time for the 3-ball mile. And that one, you see over here, I have the division rank at the time, all-time rank at the time. So it was first because it was the first time it was ever run. And how did it stand up versus the test of time? Here, still first. The 100-yard dash was only run one more time, and no one beat this time. So it's still, in 2024, the #1 time ever. So if someone wanted to run that in virtual, which, I mean, that's kind of a wide open door. If I wanted to run that as one of my extra events, I could definitely beat 13.6 very, very easily. My current 100-meter time conversion to 100-yard time would be about a 12.7, maybe 12.8. And I need to do that quickly because my times are not going to get faster at a certain point because I am getting older. I'm in men's masters, so putting that into perspective, I'm 41 years old at this point, so I'm past my prime physically. I don't feel like it. Like, I feel great, but just thinking, like, once I'm 50, like, I'm not going to plan to, like, I'm not planning to be able to do a 360 dunk anymore, or do, like, you know, whatever, like jump high, run fast, sprint fast. I might spend more time with long running and that type of thing. But anyway, it's just one of those things. Aging. Enjoy your youth while you have it. So I'm grateful. With the mile, 3-ball mile, it's currently the 25th in men's open and 27th overall all time. So that's kind of cool. That's still decent. That's a very good mile time, 5:44.7. That's very, very solid. And you have all throughout here. Let's see, there's a bunch of 3-ball. Oh, here we go. Here's a 5-ball. So 5-ball, you had 1991, 5-ball 400 meter. That's a long 5-ball run. But this one is still right here, world record. And this one, yeah, Billy Gillen. What was the time on that? Oh, really? Just finished. Oh, backwards. Oh, that's why it's #1. Oh, what? Wait, 5-ball 400 meter backwards. What a monster. Dang. Okay, that's why that's #1. Oh, that is wild. That's super wild. Yeah, the 3-ball 100 meter on stilts. You had 3-ball 60 meter hurdles with 6-pound bowling balls. And they did it more than once. Yeah. I think Mike was a Presbyterian pastor as well, which was a super interesting fact. I've never met him in person, but I think he and I would get along pretty well. Like people in ministry who juggle. Oh man. Let's see. There are a bunch of relays, of course. Relays have been a big part of joggling at meets, and I was looking for the shot put. Where's Chris's record here? It was pretty. Oh, because I did top 1,000. Okay, hold on. Let's do top 1,000. Where event name like shot put. No, this is shot here. There. Yeah. 3 ball 100 meters with 5 kilogram shot puts. 15.96. You have the 7 ball 100 meter. That has been a fun. Yeah, that's pretty well filled in. But 45.24. But there was a 41.83. So Chris broke the world record with 41.83 in 2022, and that was out on an asphalt track. I don't think it would have made much of a difference with a synthetic track because he just runs in the Adidas shoes that I gave to him. And I have right here, actually, let's see here. You see this says 14:13. That means 14 minutes and 13 seconds for 7 ball 100 meters. Yeah, that's how slow I am at 7. But I got this down to 9 minutes 18.5. like that's a huge improvement. But if I could get that down around like the 3-minute mark, that would be respectable. 9:18 is still bad. Like that's a lot of drops. That's a whole lot of drops. But I mean, I flashed, like to flash is to throw, like if you're juggling 7, you throw 7, you catch 7. That is a flash. If you do 2 cycles of that, so you do 14 throws, 14 catches of 7, that is called a qualify. So I was doing a lot of 7 ball flashes, and I think that's probably, like all these attempts right here, that's by far the most times ever in my life I've flashed 7. So anyway, it just takes a lot of practice. Let's get back to the other tables. If you go to Joggler Best tables, this one's kind of cool. So you can see each runner's best time at each individual event. And you can see the division rank at the time and current all-time division rank and overall rank. So if you go down to my records, I'll have to where juggler name me. All right, so there's mine. So if y'all want to see my best times right now, I have a few of them that I really need to improve. But some of them I'm still pretty happy with. Like I'm happy with the 600 meter time. That's a really good one, 142.96. Man, it kind of hurts because I had an 800 meter that would have been a 217 or 218, but I dropped incessantly in the last 100 meter. Like my arms just locked up, like lactic acid, and I dropped, then I picked it up and I dropped, and then I picked one up and I could not keep a hold of it, so I like threw it forward, then I had to go back, and that just ruined the entire run that year. Like that would have been about a 217, 218, right on pace with that 142.96. That would have been crazy. So I need to go back and fix that 800 meter time. That's just on me. I ran a 316 last year in the 1,000 meter. Funny thing was, I ran it and there was another guy running on one of the outer lanes, but my form was so tight that he didn't know that I was juggling. And so he thought I was just running. He's like, man, you're running pretty fast. You training for something? And I'm just like, I mean, I put up a time, and he's like, oh, you're running super fast, man. And so then I went around as like a cool down lap with juggling. He's like, man, I didn't know you could do that. And I was just like, yeah, I did that when I was running. He's like, what? So he didn't notice. Like I was so tight with my form that it was like, cool. I guess that's a good thing. So you want to be efficient, but my 312, it was #1 at the time. I should say, Eric Walter had a faster time than I did, but that was not under IJA ownership. So that was a Guinness World Record. But I mean, he had a faster time. I mean, he's sub 3, so I need to improve that time quite a bit if I'm gonna even push that. But #2 all time now, Samuel Dean. I think he broke my record, IJA record, I should say, last year. Yes, I'm 99% sure on that. 525, I could improve that for the 1600. My 3K was fine at 11:10, but I need to train for that specifically. My 4-ball times are good. My 4-ball 400 meter is faster now. This year I put up a faster time there. The 4-ball 200 meter, let's go to, let's see. Let's do event name. 4-ball 200 meters. I think that's, yeah, my times get worse and worse as you add more props. You also notice my 5-ball 60 meter was done in 2019 at 1 minute 10 seconds, and then my 100 meters is 40.46 done 2 years later. So I've improved, and my 200 meters is almost beating my 60 meter now. But I need to get better at 5 for sure, and Juggle Boy always nags me about that I just need to put in the time. So if I'm gonna get better, I need to put in the time. Just where do I find time? Man, that's always the tough part. Some of my records are really good. Some of them I need to improve. But I mean, I'm doing great. I'm happy with all of these things. Yeah, 4-ball 200 meters. The world record is Stefan Sipra's 33.5. I had a run that would have rivaled that, but there was this lady running the opposite direction of what she should have been on the track when I was doing that run, and I was it would have been sub 33, but I was about 120 meters in, and I was like, she's not. It was like a game of chicken. I was just like, what is she doing? And I just stopped and, all right, deadline passed. I'm like, all right, 33.94, which is a good run, but I can do better. Division rank is still 1, so men's masters is still number 1 all time, but overall rank that's number 2. I'm quite sure I can break that. 4-ball 1 has been fun, and that was Mark Fiore put up a really fast time, 13.97 last year at the in-person meet. Wild. And Mark Fiore put up another, like, let's look up the 5-ball 100 meter as well. That's gonna be much more contested, but let's do that's going to be Mark Fiore here. 14.37 is nuts. 5-ball 100 meter in 14.37 seconds. So we have a lot of really good runners. Matt Feldman has the record here at 14.10, and I think he has a faster Guinness World Record at 13 point something, which is really, really impressive. And so that's all videoed up and all that. But Matt Feldman's a phenomenal 5-ball runner as well. But there's one as well. Dakota is a newer to joggling. Like he does all sorts of stuff with like stock analysis, and hey, he's trying 5-ball like crazy. So I think he could push some of these times if he really wanted to. And I especially think he's going for what, 5-ball mile. So 5-ball mile, IJA. Not a whole lot. I mean, you could probably break that right now, but that was done in 1996. We probably should have that at one of these events, but I don't know many people who would want to do 5-ball mile. That's the thing. Not a lot of entrants in that type of thing, but anyway, maybe more people will be interested, more than I think. I don't know, but anyway, those are the joggler bests. You can look up. There's joggler detail. There's medal count detail. This one's kind of cool. So medal counts. So you have overall. Hey, so I'm 6th all time in total medals, but Andy Swan has the most medals. Andy Swan was picking up medals like no other, and same with Jack Hershowitz. Like he's still, like, he was there last year and just kept getting medal after medal. Same thing with Heather and Joanne. They were still out there getting medals like crazy. So yeah, that's wild. They picked up a ton of medals. And then medal point detail, which is 531 for 5 gold, 3 silver, 1 bronze. So that's all calculated here. So if this were like Olympic tabulations, I'm still 6th. But yeah, it's mostly in the same order, you know. Maybe a few exceptions, but the more golds you have in this, like the more efficient you are with your gold medals, the better you'll be ranked compared to your overall like total medal count. And it's performance speed detail. This one's kind of cool. You see in meters per second, kilometers per hour, and miles per hour, each individual performance. So yeah, 3-ball 100 meter, Owen Morse and Albert Lucas up top. They were collegiate runners, very, very legendary in the sport of joggling, as well as running. And Albert did hurdles too. He did hurdles while joggling. Like that was That was pretty wild too. So I'm here with 40-yard dash, 100-meter. Where's my 60? Where my 60 at? The 60 I played too safe. There's got to be here. It's got to be here somewhere. Maybe not. I played it too safe. Like I didn't want to drop. Yeah. I played it safe. I didn't want to drop. We had one shot at it. So yeah, that was that. 3-ball 60, 8.75. I should probably redo that at some point, or maybe do that virtually so I could train and really get that time down. I know I could get that way down. We have a lot of really fast runners here. So now you can stratify this by, you can filter it down per event. Like if you do where event name like 800 meters. Yeah, that's wild. 13.66 miles an hour at 210.95. I'm here at 222.34. That's 12.57 average miles per hour for the entire run. Man, it still stings. I would have been at 217, 218 with one of those runs, and that would have been a little higher, but not quite 13 miles an hour average. That's blazing fast. There's Eric Walter there. Caleb broke this in 2021 with a 210.95, and he also broke the mile. So if you look up mile, yeah, 436.78 while juggling 3. That is so wild. That's over 13 miles an hour for a mile average. Goodness gracious, that's so fast. Anyway, that's crazy. And I do have some functions that you can look up each individual event, and then it'll tell you. You can search by performance, like you have all-time performances, and then you have like personal bests. So if I have 5 times in the top 10, I will only show up once in that filter. So that's more of what I want, like personal bests and all that, versus, if someone shows up, they get 10 of the best times ever that no one will ever break, and then like they're just on the list forever as a top 10. No, they should be one of those on the list, and then you have who's second, third, fourth, fifth, and then get their best. So I have that as well in the functions. Record detail. Yeah, record detail is really cool too. You can see per division and overall per event what the records are and when they were obtained. So some of the divisions don't have entries. And some of these are less run or weren't ever run officially. Like the 3-ball 100-meter contortionist. Like Barry Goldmeyer he was going crazy. Like he had his like arms behind his back. They were like, oh man, like okay, cool. So that was with 4 pirouettes. Oh man, there's some fun ones here. Relay team detail. These are kind of neat. So you have like all the runners and the stopwatch time, all-time ranks, all that, and yeah, relays. You hand off one of your balls to the next person. So you're juggling 3, and then you hand it off to the next person. So there is an exchange zone. So basically, yeah, it's like a relay, but in the exchange zone, you don't have to juggle it all. I don't know who came up with that rule, but you don't have to juggle it all once you hit that hash mark, and then you stop juggling, and then you hand off 1, and then someone, like you start with 2, and then you get handed the 3rd, and then you keep going. I just by reflex, like I anchored. Did I rank? I think I anchored every single one of the relays I was a part of. No, there was one exception. There was one exception, yes, because I ran in 2 different relays to fill in like enough for a team. So I ran in 2 different divisions. I think that was the case. I have to go back and check on that. But I ran 1 early and then 1 late. And I was just like tired. After that, like the in-person meet, you have 7 or 8 events, and you're running that all in a morning with very, very little break. And so there's a little bit of budgeting of energy, and your times aren't going to be the very best unless you're just going 1 event. So I'm trying all of them. I'm just like, yeah, give me those medals, So that's just budgeting the time, and like if you're way ahead in one event, you might want to chill out, coast for a little bit. And then the next event, hit it hard, whatever. So, yeah, all right. So I also made all decade teams here. So here are top 20s from each decade. So here's 1980s. And you have, of course, Owen and Albert up here. And a ton of legendary. I mean, you have the inventor here of joggling, right there. And then you have 1990s. Yeah. 2000s. And I started in 2019. Wow, that's a lot of medal points. Andy Swan going crazy. All of these are a lot of points, really. That's wild. 2010, 2010s. I started in 2019, so I only had 1 year in here, but I did well, but that doesn't put me anywhere near the top 20 years of the all-decade team. It's really a good all-decade team. Gabrielle, wow, and Bennett as well. And yeah, Mark's still going at it for sure. So 2020s, here's where you'll see me. So I'm doing pretty well. Yeah. And I have 31 gold medals total at this point. And I'm hoping to increase that this year. But the total medal points, yeah, I'm doing very well. So this is based on medal points and the top 20 medal points of the decades. And we've only gone through 4 years, so 2020, 1, 2, and 3. And we got a ton to go. So yeah, we'll see what happens in the end. But is that really it? I mean, there's joggler detail, but I'm not going to just leave that to its own table. So anyway, there are 2 jogglers in the UK who have been keeping track of all sorts of joggling records as a whole, not just IJA. So I'm going to send these over to them. So yeah, so Scott and Chris, they've been doing a lot of work in making the front end as well. The thing is, like, I could make a front end for this as well, and maybe there will be one in the future. Man, it's a lot of time and effort to get something that sorts everything the way you want and makes it presentable and also prevents SQL injection. So like, I could pre-render tables or HTML pages from the tables, and that may be a more palatable thing if IJA doesn't want me to have database extensions or allowance for access on the regular, or if they have some bandwidth that they have to honor. It shouldn't be high bandwidth for this at all, but I'm just saying, it's something you have to tend to and update regularly and make sure it doesn't break and make sure that it doesn't get hacked. All that. All right. So yeah, that's joggling. I mean, someone hacks the joggling table. Like, why? Like, what are you doing with your life, sir? So anyway, medal count detail. Yeah. Okay, I've gone through all the tables really for the interesting ones. Yeah, this is fun. I had fun making this. If Scott and Chris, if y'all want to keep the structure as is and just expand it, that feel free. I mean, I'm not getting money off of this. This is a pet project, and I've had fun joggling and directing and even 3D printing some medals, but 3D printing medals is very time consuming. I might find a different option at some point just because it takes a long time. And there are more and more competitions and events, and there's going to be a lot of demand for those. And yeah, I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So that's my Joggling Database, or IJA Joggling Database, and I hope you enjoyed this little walkthrough. I'll make some more videos soon. Lord willing, I should say. I've been doing a lot of ministry, and it's been a lot of time, a lot of time requirement. I've been also doing some other stuff on some side projects in the background that you'll find out about eventually, especially if you're a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's. So that should be fun as well. And then just work outside of that. Running. I got to put together some joggling times, so I got to get on that. I have until June 15th to get those done. Anyway, hope you're doing well. Maybe I'll live stream at some point here soon as well, but I got a lot of videos I want to make, and maybe the next thing major will be juggling on a DDR pad while beating Five Nights at Freddy's. Maybe 3. I've already done Five Nights at Freddy's 1, the original Five Nights at Freddy's, but Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is going to be a huge jump in difficulty, like huge, and I got to figure out how I would structure the pad commands for that, so I got to program all that, but I'll get on these things, and hopefully you'll enjoy those videos in the future if YouTube ever recommends my videos again. So, all right. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. Peace. God bless you. Have a great day. And yeah, hope you're doing well. All right. I'll check you later.